Ready to level up your leadership from the ground up? This is Lead from the Line. Here's your host, Coach Mac. Yo. Welcome back to Lead from the Line. This is season 1 finale. Can't believe we've already made it 12 episodes in on the first season of Lead from the Line. First things first, anybody who is new here, please do me a favor wherever you're watching and smash that follow button if it's a follow, subscribe if you see subscribe. Also, last thing, share it with someone who could benefit from this episode and learning a little bit more about leadership and leading from the line. And so as we dive into this final episode, I have just been so blessed to be able to do this. I've had people call me and say, man, I needed to hear that, whatever episode it is. Hey, I'm going through that exact same thing right now. And hearing your podcast allowed me to know, hey, you've went through it as well. And so that's why Lead from the Line was invented in the beginning, was so that if even one person heard a message that could impact them, that was my goal, right? I just want people to understand that we're all in this together. It takes a village to raise kids. And so today's episode is simply called Leaving a Legacy. And I want you to really sit and think about that word, legacy. What does legacy look like to you? Now, what we're going to talk about in this episode, it doesn't mean my legacy has to be your legacy or there's only one way. But to me, at the end of the day, a legacy is, what do I want people to say about me when I'm no longer here? What do I want my kids to say about me? What do I want kids that I've coached to say about me? You know, take it another step. What do I want my spouse to say about me? Do I want my spouse to say, man, that was a good man right there? And so as we embark on this last episode, I just hope that you come back for season 2. And I hope that if there's anything that you really enjoyed, please share it. That's how we get this podcast out there, is people willing to share kind of some of the things they've heard or some of the things that they've benefited from. And so as we're here at the finale, as you know, hey, I'm your host, Coach Mac. And throughout this first season, we've talked about confidence. We've talked about toughness. We've talked about discipline. We've talked about culture. And we've talked about mistakes, right? But today we're just going to pull all that back. We're going to zoom out and we're going to just zoom past the scoreboard, past the current season you're in or the season you just ended, past youth football altogether. So we've pulled that thing all the way back out. And like I said, this episode is called Leaving a Legacy. And I'm not talking about the kind that fades when the lights go out. I'm not talking about the kind that your kids carry in their bones long after you're gone. Okay? So we dive into that. So what will kids really remember? So your son won't remember the final score of every single game. Your son won't remember every single play that you yelled about, but he will remember the look on your face when he made a mistake. The sound of your voice on the ride home. The way you hugged him after a loss. And the way you celebrated more than just stats. Another thing is the way you talked about him when you thought he wasn't listening. And this is a big one here. Kids are always listening. So if you're going to say something about your kid, if I were you, I would go in your room, shut your door, around the corner, shut the bathroom door, into your closet, shut that door as well, go back in your closet, put a blanket over your head, and then say something about your child. And I know you think that's funny, but kids hear everything. And the last thing you want to do is say something negative about your kid and your kid hear it. That destroys confidence. That destroys self-esteem. So keep that in mind if you have something negative to say about your kid. Now, if your kid does something, what you should do anyway is communicate that with them. Hey, son, hey, daughter, you're very smart. You're very talented. You didn't handle that situation the right way. As your father, as your parent, it is my job to help you in case you encounter that situation again. And that's the big thing. I understand our kids do stuff sometimes and they upset us sometimes. And sometimes we're like, what in the world is going through their mind? But you've got to remember they're kids. And how are kids going to learn stuff if we don't teach them, right? I heard a long time ago a story, and I may not get this exactly right, but there's 3 stages with our kids. When our kids are real little, we're in that protection stage, right? Young kids, we have to protect them from everything. Don't put this in your mouth. Don't stick a fork in the light socket. Don't go running out in the street. Don't do all these things, right? We have to protect kids from themselves when they're young. Then as they get older, we get into more of what we call a partnership phase. Hey, you're old enough to know right from wrong. You're old enough to know what things you can and can't do. So we're going to partner together. As you get older in this partnership phase, you're going to start doing more around the house. You're going to start having more requirements of things that you need to accomplish. So that's step 2, right? We protected you, we partnered, and then it's preparation. It's my job now to prepare you to enter the real world. I always like to say that preparation stage and that partnership stage can kind of go hand in hand, right? Before you can prepare a kid, you've got to kind of partner with them, know their strengths, know the things you're trying to help them grow on, so then you can push and prepare them for what they're going to be in the real world. And then I think that protection phase never ends. As a parent, man, you worry about your kids. You want to protect them from every situation. And so those are the 3 stages. And so it's our job to make sure we build our kids and lead them the right way, right? And so all those things don't fade. The way you talked about your kid, the way you yelled at your kid, the way you congratulated your kids, they are going to remember those things. Trust me, they really, really will. And then legacy isn't built on a highlight reel. So I've never met somebody and I walked up to them and they're like, this is my son here. Watch his mixtape. This is my son right here. He scored 67 touchdowns in flag football from the ages of 5 to 10. We don't do that. Hey, this is my son. He's a fantastic young man. He's in school right now studying this, that, and the other. He's excelled at everything he's ever done. He's at an internship right now, whatever it may be. Those are the kind of things that we brag about on our kids, right? The youth sports stuff is great. Like my kid, this number 22 jersey right here, I tell my 12-year-old now that was the best version of him I'd ever seen. I know that's kind of tough to say because at the time he was 7 or 8 years old, but my goodness, was he an absolute monster. Is he still that? Yes. He still has that ability deep down inside him, but there was something about him at that age. He was still so new in the sport. He hadn't encountered any coaches yet that had killed his confidence. He hadn't really been coached by his dad yet. As I told you in previous episodes, I can't coach him. I'm his dad. And that's all he wants me to be for him, is his dad. But that number 22 on the wall right there, man, that dude was a monster. Some of the runs I saw him make in flag football, I understand it wasn't tackle football, but some of the runs and the cutbacks and the eyes and the things he did blew my mind. I can add some footage in some of these clips to go with this, but my goodness, he was a walking home run hitter once he touched the football. It was like once he got that ball in his hands, watch out now. And so that's just one of those things too, is yeah, we're proud of those moments, but ultimately we're trying to grow our kids and develop our kids for the future, right? I know we're talking youth sports and we're talking right from wrong and we're talking leadership, we're talking character, developing all those things, but the end goal has got to be what your kid is going to be when they're out there in that real world, when they face a little bit of adversity, when things don't go their way, when they're having to work a full-time job to provide for their family and all those things that we've done and we understand as adults, right? How does my kid handle those? And so that's just the main thing. Let's enjoy the youth sports, but let's not make everything about youth sports. And then the next thing is like the story that your kids will tell one day. So, man, and this one, I'm gonna try to get through this. I've started to learn that the older I get, I find myself quick to get emotional, and I have really mastered the art of allowing myself just to be present in the moment and feel. I talked about on the last episode my kids talking about wanting to be baptized, and man, I felt that in my spirit. Yesterday we had the call with the church to talk about what baptism day looks like, and sitting on the couch watching my kids say the prayer that they were inviting Jesus into their heart to be their Lord and personal Savior. If you've ever went through that as a parent, you know how good that feels. And it was amazing to see my little 12 and 9-year-old, he's almost 10, he'll be 10 on Saturday, say that prayer. And so as we start talking about the future, one day our kids are going to tell a story about us. Maybe they're going to tell the story to their friends, their spouse, their kids. If they become a coach, they're going to talk to their players. And I guarantee the kids aren't going to start with, my dad had this record. My dad's team won this many games. They're going to say things like, my dad always showed up. My dad was hard on me, but I knew he loved me. There was no doubt during the times my dad was hard on me, I knew he loved me. And I knew that he was doing that for me so that I could be who I am today. The man I am, the woman I am, telling you this story today. Another thing my dad did was he apologized when he was wrong. Being able to apologize and admit you're wrong is huge. Take ownership. Take accountability. We make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But be willing to say, man, I messed up right there. My dad didn't bail out when things got tough. Dads that are out there working, moms that are out there working, let your kids see you get up. Get up when you're tired. Get up when things aren't going right. Put your clothes on and go take care of your business. Those things your kids remember, trust. Don't sacrifice your time. I understand that. I will never chase a dollar over time with my children. May sound selfish. Just how I'm geared, how I'm wired. My time with my family is more than anything. At the end of the day, if we have to go live in a smaller home, live somewhere else other than we live now, we got to do that. But I'm not going to sacrifice my time with my family in certain situations. Now, again, I have a job. I don't just stay home and sit on a computer all day and make podcasts. I have a job. But my time with my kids and my wife and my family is everything. Or, hey, you don't want your kid to say stuff like, my dad was always mad. Nothing was ever good enough. I never felt like I could be myself around my dad. And legacy is the story that they'll tell when you're not in the room. And this is something that this one hits home for me. Huge mama's boy. 100% a mama's boy. I ain't afraid to say it. I'll stand up on a table at Starbucks and let everybody know, hey, I'm Coach Mac. Big tough coach who can, get onto you when you aren't doing things the right way, is a mama's boy. Not afraid to say that. And that's something I'm proud of. I think that that's something that deep down inside has been instilled in me to be who I am today. I didn't learn those lessons from my father. I didn't learn respect, accountability, credibility, whatever words you want to say, discipline, integrity, all the words you can throw in. I didn't learn those from my father. My mom taught me those kind of things. So growing up, my mom taught me the things that I needed to know in order to be the version of myself I am today. And my dad taught me the things that I didn't need to know. And he taught me those things by his words and by his actions. So as I was growing up, I was getting everything I needed on this side and nothing on this side. And so that's one of my biggest things. I didn't really care. I got to a point in my life where I didn't care what my dad said. Again, respectfully, respect my dad. I'm not here without him, but I didn't care what he thought. I got to that point where as long as I was doing the things that my mom needed me to do, I'm chilling. Because that's what mattered. Upsetting her, making her proud. Those are the things that matter. You know, my mom passed away in 2017. And so that is something that I'm still striving for this day, is to continually make my mom proud. Is she proud of me? 1,000%. And so again, but it was all those things. And as I'm sitting here talking about this in the legacy, it's those same conversations that if someone were to ask me about my mom, it's going to be all those positive things. My mom showed up. My mom worked when it was hard. My mom had a heart of gold. She was a nurse and provided her time to educate other people around the disease state that she worked in. And so those are the things in the stories that I still tell. So when we're talking about leaving a legacy, you see what I'm saying? I hope you have a legacy that you can remember. And I hope you are leaving a legacy for your children, something that they can remember. And so just remember, legacy is the story that will be told when you're not in the room. And so you've got to make sure that that story is one that you want. And so this next part we're kind of talking about is just the hard truth about time. So there's going to be, and this one's getting tough, man, because this is where I'm at in my stage of life with my kids. There's going to be a last youth football game. There's going to be that last car ride home from a Friday night football game. There's going to be that last time that you sit down and you tie your son's cleats, you tie your daughter's basketball shoes, whatever it may be. There's going to be that last time your kid looks at you and says, hey, will you warm up with me? And the hard part is you don't know when that last is, when it's happening. And so if you're not careful, you'll rush through seasons. You'll treat everything like a transaction. You major on mistakes and minor on moments, and we've got to flip that. You've got to major on every single moment, right? And those mistakes are minor because they will make mistakes as we make mistakes. So if you don't take anything from this episode, this is the point. There's a point in every single episode where there's that ta-da moment. This is it. Mistakes are minor, but moments are major. And make sure that you have your priorities straight. I can't stress this enough. Slow down. Be in the now and enjoy every single moment, because you're going to look back one day and you're going to be like, dang, it went by so fast. Man, I wish I could go back to a youth football game. Man, I wish I could watch my daughter play club volleyball again. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. And then one day you're going to look up and be like, man, I messed up. I worried about the wrong things. Could you imagine that? That's going to be the toughest realization. Is that you go through life and yeah, you showed up. Yeah, you did everything you needed to do, but you focused on the wrong thing. And then when that realization hits you one day, man, it's over. And I can't go back to those times. And all I can remember from those times is how hard I was on my kid. I missed out on the moments because I was so worried that my kid missed a tackle. I was so worried that my kid didn't make that shot. Just telling you, man, lock in and focus and get your focus where it needs to be. Because trust me, that will be a terrible feeling. Nobody wants to feel that. So, man, legacy isn't some big speech at the end, right? You build your legacy in those little small talks before bed. I pride myself in this. We say prayers every night with our boys. We have a prayer where we pray for our family, some of our friends and people every night. And then My wife will go downstairs and I kind of stay up there just for a couple minutes just to talk and just to hear their little goofy conversations. My boys' rooms are so I can lay in one boy's bed and look out the door and see the other boy laying in his bed. And those are moments that they're, again, 12 and almost 10 that I don't want to miss out on. Right? Am I ready to go get my butt in bed sometimes? Absolutely. I'm an early riser. I get up and go to the gym at 4. I wake up at 4:30 to go to the gym. And so absolutely, I'm ready to go get in my bed. But man, I don't want to miss out on those moments. I've read a book. If you've never read this book, I can link it or whatever. It's called The Power of Now. And it just really talks about focusing on the present moment, right? Because they say when you look back, that's when you kind of, can cause some depressive thoughts, right? You worry about, man, this is what happened back then. This is what happened back there, versus when you're always looking at the future, that's what causes anxiety. And so things that are supposed to be in the future will become the present when it's time. And so just focus on what you have in front of you right now. You don't need to be anywhere other than where you are at this moment on, I don't even know what day it is, on a Wednesday I don't even know what time it is. But that's what I'm saying. Those kind of things are important. Those little conversations at bedtime, in the car, the way you handle being tired. So the little talks between bed, the little conversations in the car, how we act when we're tired. Are we short with our words? Are we, quick to get upset? Are we moody? What kind of things, kids get tired too, right? So how do we handle being tired? The way we show up when days are hard, right? The way you handle money, stress, conflict, all those things that maybe kids don't know about. Unfortunately, yes, us as adults, we deal with those things. We deal with those struggles on a day-to-day basis. And if we do a really good job of our kids not knowing about those things, I think that's huge. I'm not saying rob, but let your kids be kids. The adults take care of the adult stuff. I know kids that get a little bit older, they'll ask, well, how much money do we have? Could we afford this? Could we buy that? I know my kids do. And it's just like, man, be a kid. You don't worry about that. You got a meal, you got clothes, you got a roof over your head. You don't worry about all the adult stuff. We got you. Mom and dad got you taken care of here, right? The way you look at your kid when they walk in a room. This is a good one. Like, man, when you see your kid walk in the room, do you just grin ear to ear? I do. Like, my boys are outside playing right now. They've had all this snow and stuff, and they're out shoveling people's driveways. Now, of course, they're just doing it because they want to, but the neighbor's like, we're going to give them a little bit of money for doing that. But that's just the kids wanting to be kids and wanting to be helpful, man. When they're going to walk back in, I'm just going to smile and be like, man, that's cool. That's cool of y'all for getting out and do that, right? But here's the deal too, right? If my child didn't hear another word I said, but spent the next 10 years watching how I live, what do you think they would learn about? Would they learn about love, commitment, faithfulness, resilience, grace, ownership? Those are some of the words that come to mind to me, right? Commitment. How am I committed to their mother? Will I model that for my boys in the next 10 years, for my kids in the next 10 years? Faithfulness. Will I openly praise the Lord? Will I openly be kind to people, give people grace in every situation? Take my family to church, not just to say we go to church, but to give thanks and show our love to the Lord for everything he's blessed us with. Will I show them resilience? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so will I show them that, hey, no matter what, dad's going to show up. Dad's going to take care of what dad needs to take care of, and you're going to be fine. This, dad will crawl through the mud so that you're good, okay? And ownership. Hey, I messed up. I didn't do good in this situation. That's on me. I'm going to take that ownership. So will I model that for my kids over the next 10 years if I didn't say another word? If you didn't speak, would you model that for your kids? Would your kids be able to see all the good things that you're modeling for them without you even saying a word? I'll let you think on that one. That one's deep right there. Really, really think on that. So if you're hearing this episode, watching this episode, I'd pause it right there and let your mind ponder for a minute and think about that. Am I doing the right things every single day where my kids learn all these wonderful traits and all these words that I just talked about without me even saying a word. If you can say yes, you're doing a great job. If you can say no, guess what? You still have the opportunity. You still have a chance to change that. Listen, we all mess up. We all have seasons. We all mess up every single day. I think that's where at the end of the day, you just say, hey, Lord, fill me. Give me the strength to reset tomorrow and be a better version of myself than I am today. And I think that's huge. That right there, just it truly, truly makes me smile to just think about that. Like that'd be really, really cool. It really, really would. It would make me smile. Man, and this is crazy. This is crazy to think that we're here. Right? Choosing your legacy on purpose, right? I want to leave you with this. Legacy is not an accident. Legacy is a decision. And it's a decision you decide. Nobody gets to make this decision for you. So I will be a dad who shows up. I will be a dad who owns his mistakes. I will be a dad who apologizes. I will be a dad who says, I love you out loud. We talk lead loud and lead proud. I will do that. Everyone will know I love you and I will make sure of it. I will be a dad who cares more about who my son becomes than how he performs. You may mess up, and you will mess up sometimes, and so will I. But if your kid grows up knowing my dad wasn't perfect, but he was present, he was growing every single day, and I always knew he loved me, that, my friend's, a legacy. And I'm going to go a step further. There's not a trophy. There's not a ring. There's not anything that can touch that. So as we sign off right now, episode 12 of season 1, I just want you to know that, hey, this is Lead from the Line. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get honesty. You're going to get someone who, if there's an issue, if I'm failing in an area, we're going to talk about it. I'm not going to shy away from anything. There's people listening that need to hear this, and there's still people we need to reach. You're going to get real from me. Thank you for walking through season 1 with me. We talked a lot about leadership in this season, and that's huge. But remember, leadership starts at home, and it starts with us, right? So no matter what, you make sure you lead from the line, you lead loud, and you lead proud. And as I did last time, we're going to close it out with, I have a lead from the line prayer, and so we're going to go ahead and close it out with that. Father God, real leadership doesn't start when the whistle blows. It starts in the heart. This prayer is a reminder that Lead from the Line isn't just about sports. It's about how we show up as fathers, husbands, coaches, and men. Discipline, humility, faith, and by being an example. If we want better kids, better teams, and better homes, it starts with us. Lead strong, love stronger, lead loud, and lead proud. This is Coach Max signing off, and this is Lead from the Line. Thanks for joining us on Lead from the Line. If this episode helped you, share it with one person who needs to hear it today. Join the conversation on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you on the next one.
No flags on the play, keep your vision alive. Fatherhood and football, that's how we survive.